Hey, and welcome back to Game Talk. I'm your host, Ahmed Mion. I'm joined by Connor
Hey guys.
and Michael.
This episode is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Not really.
Uh,
Don't sue us.
I've seen that commercial so many times.
I
It's
have
so annoying.
too.
Doesn't even like I've seen it on channels completely unrelated to gaming.
Yeah,
No,
they're
it-
spending a lot of money on
They
that game.
put
Yeah.
so much money into
Well,
sponsorship.
they're spending a lot
ads.
of money on marketing that game.
Like I watched like a YouTuber who does like steak videos, and he's like given the Raid Shadow Legends spiel like multiple times. And it was like I could tell you clearly have no experience with gaming.
They're a
But,
very
yeah, they must
high-paying
be.
advertiser, apparently.
Yeah, they must
Yeah, they're
be.
huge. I've seen people like trash talk it. That's the more fun. Is people like no, I will never accept a sponsorship from them, and then they'll immediately like flash it on the screen
Yeah.
or just meme it.
I mean, the fact that we all recognize what you were talking about shows that they're doing their job.
It's
Yeah.
a garbage game. I'll do it.
Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to address the elephant in the room. Who amongst us has seen the Sonic movie?
Oh,
I need
yeah,
to
I've seen
watch
it.
it. I need to watch it.
So no one saw it?
I saw it.
Oh, you
Connor
saw
saw
it,
it.
Connor? Okay,
Yeah, I
what,
saw it.
what are your thoughts on the Sonic movie?
Okay, so it was disappointing, but it was disappointing in that it was actually kind of good.
How does that make sense?
Like, I expected it to be this garbage fire I was
Oh.
going to be able to go in and laugh at.
You wanted it to be so bad it was good, but it was actually just kind of okay.
No, it was really just, it was a pretty good children's movie with a Sonic coat of paint on it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, if I'm picking, like, if I have my pick of children's movies, Sonic the Hedgehog is going to be pretty high. Like, it's not the Emoji Movie. It's not like Sing, It was a competently made movie. There were clearly people working on it that loved Sonic. I just wish they'd gotten a little more say, because there were like a couple of little things they could have done that would have meant a lot to me. Like just making the Badniks orange instead of white would go a long way. I didn't love the robot designs, but it's a pretty good movie. I mean,
Yeah, and I haven't seen it yet, but I've looked at like the financials and stuff, and it's doing really well.
I wouldn't
It's like
call
on
it
track
must
to outdo Detective Pikachu, which I never would have guessed it would have
yeah, I
even
wouldn't
come
have guessed that.
close to that.
Detective Pikachu is a better movie, easily, but
Yeah,
it was pretty good. I mean, I'll definitely see a sequel if they put one out. It was good enough
They're
that I can say
definitely
that
going
now.
to.
Yeah, I think so. They opened the door to it. Another thing is Robotnik. Like they show him in his classic look in the trailer, and I thought like that was gonna be like, oh, in the third act he's gonna go kind of crazy and do that, and it's not. That's after he is defeated. He dons that look.
okay, so it's more of a setup for the next one then, if there's
Yeah.
a next one.
They've done some very strong setup for the next one. There was an after credits scene and everything.
I did hear that Jim Carrey was full like chaotic, manic Jim Carrey in this one.
Yeah, I'm not.
Like
I
what
don't
we
want to
haven't
talk
seen
about
since
his
the
character too
90s.
much because I've never liked Jim Carrey. Like I don't like him in really anything, except like I didn't mind him in Kick-Ass 2, and I liked The Truman Show. But like overall, Jim Carrey being in a movie makes me not want to see it. But I thought his performance was very passable, even as someone who doesn't like him. So
Yeah, because Robotnik's a very ham character anyway.
yeah,
Like even in like the 2D Sonic games, like Sonic 3, Robotnik was still a large ham. He was just a pixelated large ham.
now I will say that the best part of the movie by far was the kids sitting around me. Like they were
Yeah.
so funny
Yeah,
throughout the movie.
kids love Sonic.
Oh, yeah. One of them, every single time a trailer started, he asked his mom, "Is that Sonic?" And it clearly wasn't. And
Oh my god.
yeah,
No, I-
and that same kid made me wonder how well this movie was gonna do, because like the entire way through the movie, like starting 20 minutes in, he started saying, "I want this to be over."
You do
But
know
I think
this
he
is
was just.
starting
I mean, you make a kid sit down for an hour and a half, I think it was that.
Yeah.
this is starting a whole new generation of Sonic OCs, and that is scary.
Yeah, no, the thing is, Sonic is the only talking animal for the vast majority of this movie.
That's
He,
kind of
uh,
weird.
He starts out in like what looks like Green Hill Zone, like it's that island. He just calls it the island he grew up on, which like that island doesn't have a name in Sonic canon as far as I know. And there's some owl kind of raising him, and there's like a kid Sonic running around, and like the
An
Echidna
owl?
tribe. Yeah,
Is
an
that some
owl
sort
was
of
raising him.
reference to
I think
some
it's in the
lore
Archie
somewhere?
comics, but I'm not sure. The owl is not an original character, but Anyway, yeah, this owl was raising him as a kid, telling him how powerful he is. Or
Okay.
something because he's like so fast, and he like the owl is telling him he needs to stay inside because the owl doesn't want anybody to see him, but he runs around the island anyway, and he gets seen by the Echidna tribe, basically straight out of Sonic Adventure 1,
Knuckles.
and they straight up murder the owl. Like first 5 minutes of the movie, that owl dies.
All right. I don't know how deep we want to get into spoilers, but
I'm not. That's as far as I'm gonna go.
That's
But
5 minutes.
he,
So
like he throws a ring and the rings open portals, and that's like the MacGuffin of the movie. Is he has to get his rings that can
So-
open portals to other worlds.
that's sort of interesting that like it sounds kind of like the Sonic movies telling an original story, and it's just influenced by history, Sonic's history, right?
Definitely.
I think that's the way to go about making a decent video game movie, similar to how Detective Pikachu did.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish it had pulled more from the games. Like I wouldn't want it to use the story from the games, but maybe some like if Robotnik had built a Death Egg or something like that could have been really interesting. But there's still time for that. Sequels and all.
who's ready for the
Um,
Big the Cat movie?
Yeah.
The Sonic Cinematic Universe is happening.
Well, they did set it up
Apparently.
for the next Sonic movie to have more talking animals. That is a possibility.
I want to see Big the Cat. Like, he's coming back, boys. The author's favorite character.
Big the
Yeah.
Cat hasn't been relevant since like
I know. Sonic Adventure
I think
1.
I think he was in Sonic Heroes actually. I think that's
He was
the latest.
a team
He was on Amy's team, I think.
Team Rose, yeah, Amy
Yeah.
and Cream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's appeared in like the background of several Sonic games, but he hasn't
He was in the
like
background in Sonic Adventure 2, but
like made a main appearance.
I can't believe he wasn't in Sonic Forces. I would have loved to have seen Big tearing up the post-apocalypse.
Sonic
Ugh.
Mania and
I
Big.
can't believe this movie actually did well.
Yeah,
It's really sort of every time you think Sonic is dead, it just comes back stronger somehow.
And the
and
thing was, like,
more
don't get me wrong, this
stuff.
movie's not good. Like, it's not like
And
a
more
movie I'm gonna
meme-ridden.
tell all my friends they need to see. But
It comes back stronger and more meme ridden than it was before.
yeah,
That's kind of the Sonic cycle at this point.
yeah, and this movie could easily be a meme factory. There was one more thing that I really didn't like about the movie. I'm just gonna throw out there, like just a quirk that bugged me. Sonic, like they show in the trailer, like he runs so fast that there's like a blackout, right? Have you guys seen that?
Yeah.
That's not
I-
what happened in the movie. In the movie, he like got really angry and lightning came out of him.
That's weird. That's dumb.
And that comes up a couple more times in the movie. And yeah, that was really dumb. Like his power was not just fast. There was a lightning element to it, and I really didn't like that.
I strongly dislike that.
But there were some cool like Quicksilver style scenes. They weren't nearly as good as the ones in X-Men, but I respect the attempt.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it was good. Like, it's about time that we've entered an era where video game movies we're
Yeah.
finally getting it, because it's hard to adapt a video game from
Video games are getting closer
Yeah.
and closer to movies themselves.
Yeah.
So
I could see an Uncharted movie.
See, the
Because
thing is,
Uncharted follows
I don't
a
see
very
the point of an
similar
Uncharted
structure.
movie. Like I'll probably
True.
go see it, but
so an Uncharted movie that follows the plot of the games is completely pointless, I think. But
Yeah.
where this Uncharted movie is different, I think it's like a prequel starring Tom Holland. So I feel like
I'd
that
I'd
could be
like
kind
for
of
it to be
interesting.
canon. Like
Wait, is there actually an Uncharted movie?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
one in like production.
is it
How did
really
I
Tom
not know
Holland?
this?
Yeah, that's a thing.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
I
Yeah,
was
Tom Holland's
dreaming.
playing young Nathan Drake.
Not like this.
That'll be incredible.
That's actually cool though.
That's weird though, because if it's a prequel, like the only characters they could have are Nate and Sully. And I guess maybe
Those are the
no?
two best characters, though.
Yeah, no, Nate and Sully's chemistry in the games, it's what makes a lot of those moments possible.
I don't know. Elena's important.
Elaine is definitely like the third pillar of the three pillars. There's
Yeah.
Nate, Sully, and Elena. But I would argue Nate and Sully is the core relationship of the whole.
Oh yeah, for
Right.
sure.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a mentor mentee, but it's also like almost a brotherly relationship.
It kind of
like,
bugged
they'll-
me how little screen time Sully got in Uncharted 4. But yeah,
Yeah, I kind of wish like I guess spoilers for Uncharted 4, but I kind of wish they just took all of like Nate's brother's plot and gave it to Sully.
yeah, I could see that, but I don't know. I don't like Sully. The ending, Nate's brother's kind of a prick, you know.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
don't want
I didn't
Sully
play
to be
4.
that. Like
I need to.
in Uncharted 1, like Sully betrays you or whatever. I think he does that. He does that in like almost every game, but it's always.
I
you
don't
know.
remember him betraying.
I don't remember. No, what happens in Uncharted 1 is that you think Sully's dead. They quote unquote kill Sully at the beginning of Uncharted 1, and then you find out he's alive later, right?
He like pretends to betray you at some point.
It's
I
been so
remember
long since I played Uncharted.
Yeah.
Uncharted 2, I don't think he did. All
But
I
they
remember
pretend to
from
kill him
Uncharted
a
2
few
was that
times
train
too.
scene.
Well, in 3 they actually convinced me that they killed him.
Yeah, no, I thought.
It
it was
was
yeah,
very
3
convincing.
I was
And
losing
I
my
was
mind.
very angry. Like I was just right in like Nate's shoes.
Oh yeah, no, I was like tripping out that scene. It was like you just drink some magical genie water and all of a sudden you're
Yeah.
fighting fire demons and you murdered
That scene was
Sully.
balls to the walls.
It
I was
was
so
real cool.
upset.
Yeah. And what I love about that, I guess we're just spoiling all of Uncharted now, right? I guess what I really liked about that in Uncharted 3 was that it sort of turned the expectation on its head. Like the first, 1 and 2 had a supernatural twist at the end. And the third one, when it starts, you're like, okay, this is the supernatural twist in this one. But later you find out it's not, and it's just a hallucination. I thought that was a cool, subversion of your
There
expectation.
was a supernatural twist after that, though, wasn't there? Like, wasn't the water like cursed or something?
I mean, it could
There was like a djinn in the casket in the waters.
well, the thing is, the water could be like drugged or something. I think it's a lot
Yeah.
more believable than what happened at the end of 1 and 2.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, nothing about Uncharted 3 was like so supernatural that like it couldn't have happened, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the end of Uncharted 1 and 2 are both very. Is
Did
there
Uncharted 1 have
I don't
zombies?
actually remember. Did Uncharted 4 have any supernatural elements? I can't even remember.
No, Uncharted 4 was completely just realistic, I think.
Okay.
From what I
Yeah.
remember. were you
Uncharted 1
saying?
had zombies, and Uncharted
Yeah,
2 had like these
Uncharted
yetis.
1 had like 2/3 of the way through the game, or like halfway through the game, the supernatural element comes in. It's like these, like the Wendigos from Until Dawn. They look kind of like those, I think.
Yeah,
What,
and they're
Uncharted
Nazis,
1
and
or
it's
Uncharted-
super scary.
Yeah, Uncharted 1.
Yeah.
Uncharted 1.
I
Also,
thought they were conquistadors, not Nazis. I thought the Nazis were Uncharted 2.
no, there were Nazis in Uncharted 1. There was a Nazi sub crashed on the island, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was a mixture of the conquistadors and the Nazis, though, as far as I remember.
Yeah, you're right. Also, one other thing. Have you guys played Uncharted Golden Abyss?
I played a little bit of it, not too much.
Can I spoil like the supernatural element of it?
Sure.
It's not supernatural. The gold was all just radioactive.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And so they can't dig it up because it would poison everybody. They don't want to let the radioactive gold get into the economy.
That's strange.
It was a good game. Good
Yeah.
game
game.
overall.
Not
Weird
made by
twist.
Naughty Dog, that one. That one was made by
No.
Sony Bend.
Nah, and it shows, but it's a good game.
One of
It does some
one
really
of Vita's hidden gems.
Yeah,
Wasn't there...
they're all hidden gems on Vita.
Yeah. True.
Did anyone play The Lost Legacy?
Yeah, I did. I like
I
it.
haven't yet. I mean to.
I
Don't
need to
spoil
play
this one.
It the only thing I'll say about Lost Legacy though is I was surprised at the amount of content in that game. It was basically like the same length or maybe a little less than Uncharted 1. Like
Wow.
it was a
pretty
full-fledged
good.
game. But I know
It
you
was
wanted to
seamless.
talk about something that got you really amped up this morning.
Yeah.
The Animal Crossing Nintendo Direct came out and apparently fans are pleased.
So did you watch it, Ahmed?
No, I have no idea. I have no context. So you guys, tell me what you
Yes.
heard and try and sell me on the game, I guess.
In which we spend 3 hours fanboying.
Yeah, I'll sell you on the game first. It's basically like you just live on this. You move to this island. It's empty. You get two animal villagers come with you. You get to place your tent to live in, and then you also, and this is brand new to the series. It used to be like you'd be moving into a pre-established town that already had villager houses spread out through it.
Yeah.
But this time you get to actually pick where the villagers are gonna put their tents and eventually their houses. And that's exciting because like in the past, and they're saying you're gonna get to do that for every villager you get, like in the future, is you're gonna get to choose where they live. And that's exciting because like a lot of people like you build these nice towns and everything and you kind of deck them out and customize them. And then a villager just builds a house and a really maybe you build
Yeah.
this really nice looking orchard or this really nice flower field, and then a villager just pops up a house in the middle of it, and it's really
Yeah.
annoying.
I feel like this is one of those features that like 10 years from now when you get your new Animal Crossing, you'll be like, of course this feature had to be there.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
like a core feature of the game. Like, how was
Every
it that
yeah,
it wasn't
e-
there before?
every feature we're about to tell you about is something that like feels like like a natural evolution of the genre. Like it just like, oh, of course that's next. Because like the way they're taking it is that like it used to be like you lived in a town and you got to customize your house and like you could do some little stuff like plant trees and plant flowers around the town.
Yeah.
And then with New Leaf, they took it like, oh, you're the mayor of the town, and they added all this customization you could do for the town. But now this is like the next level of that, where it's like it's your own island. You're allowed to put furniture outside. Like the entire island is basically your house. You can customize it fully.
Also, I'd like to add, Emmett, that you were actually kind of right when you said when we get a new Animal Crossing in 10 years, because it's been about 8 years since the release of New Leaf.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's been a while.
But
I feel like the Switch being like Nintendo's most potent console in forever, right? I feel
right,
like
and I think their decision was that they're only going to do one Animal Crossing per console, and they're only going to do portables from now on, because the portable Animal Crossings do better.
And
they just tend to
well,
play better.
with Switch you have the best of both worlds, obviously.
Right, yeah, you get the good graphics, although it is locked at 30 FPS apparently, but I don't really care for Animal Crossing. I think this game
You don't need 120 FPS for Animal Crossing.
No,
That's
I think this game looks gorgeous. I don't know if you've seen screenshots or anything, Ahmed, but I love the aesthetic. They do these like nice felt kind of looking materials for the villagers and stuff. It's beautiful.
I'm also excited because we can finally like change the terrain of our village or build bridges where we want to build bridges.
I think that's incredible. They're literally like they're not only bringing back the two. So Animal Crossing 1 on the GameCube and the N64 in Japan, it had a 2-tiered village where like there was a ramp somewhere and like
No, it was
your
a
village was
3-tier.
basically cut in half by a cliff. What?
I think it was 3-tier. Hold on.
I don't remember. Anyway, it was tiered. But now you can actually like do that yourself. Like you have an app on your Nook phone that lets you like build up cliff sides and stuff. Like you can dig rivers and stuff. Like you can literally like almost turn on God mode and like sculpt your town into whatever shape you want it to be. And I think that's just an incredible addition.
See,
And it's one of those things I won't do that because I don't care that much. Like I've never been one to deck out my village that much. I'm always just somebody who like hangs out in it.
Also, that museum was looking pretty nice.
I just love that, like, when I visit other people's villages and stuff, though, they're going to be able to, like, have these amazing, elaborate, like, decorations they've done. Like, that's not something I like doing, but I love to see it. And I think
Local
that's
play
so
on an
cool.
Animal Crossing?
Yeah, local play.
That's
that was already
impressive.
announced. Yeah. Are we losing you yet, Ahmed? Do you have any
No.
questions?
No, I'm thinking about a lot of things. So just going back to the idea of like, you can sculpt the environment and like add bridges, raise mountains, etc., as well as, place your villagers where you want to. I really like that sort of stuff because I really like micromanaging and just meticulously placing things in games.
Right. I don't know that it's going to scratch that itch for you because there's no advantage to having a villager in one
Right, that's
place
not
or
really the
another.
point of
There's no
Animal
efficiency in
Crossing.
this game, really. Yeah.
So
But-
I guess that was my
yeah.
next question. Like, if you put a villager someplace specific, does that impact how they grow or what they can do and that sort
No.
of thing?
As far as I can tell, no. I mean, I guess in theory, if you want to be super lame about it, you could like put all the houses near each other because like occasionally villagers will give you like a little quest where you have to take something to another villager and they tend
Yeah.
to stay near their houses. But they don't always do that, so even that's not like a real thing you can do.
Yeah, but the point, I guess, is if there's newfound efficiency to be found with these features, people will find them and optimize them. Like,
Yeah, I don't think that that's going to be a huge issue. There was another thing they announced today, which I was a little worried about. And it kind of solves a problem Animal Crossing has had for a long time, which is that there's only so much you can do in your own town in a day.
right. And that's kind of where I ran into issues with Animal Crossing previously, right? I played New Leaf on 3DS, and I played it for several hours, but then after a certain point, I was just like, where like some people really enjoy the monotony and like just the repetitive nature and just like relaxing in that world. I enjoyed
Yeah.
it for a time, but then after that, I was just like, I want new things to do, and that's sort of how I fell off.
Well, I don't know that this Animal Crossing is necessarily going to fix that for you. But because what I was saying is that there's only so much you can do in one day. Like
Right.
you go,
yeah.
you pick your fruit, you dig up your fossils, you catch some bugs, you catch some fish, you're kind of done. You know, you've done it. You check your shops. They've added the ability to travel to other islands on what's called a mystery tour, and you're just traveling. You know, you can keep all the stuff you collect there, so you can
So
go
these
to another
islands
island.
are they actually other players' islands or?
No, they're
No.
random islands, and you can also
Okay.
run into new villagers on those islands and like ask them to move into your island if you want. So that's like a way you can choose which villagers you're going to have as well.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I think that's super cool. And they kind of hinted that there might be like some more exciting stuff that might come up on those island adventures. So it would be neat if like, I don't know, maybe you run into a rare NPC who sells stuff or something. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate too much because we don't have that. We don't know that that's there.
Yeah.
We saw some confirmations. I think it's funny. The community name for the new fishing tourney character, CJ, that actually ended up being correct because he looked like Chip. So people were calling him Chip Jr. or CJ, and that is his canonical name now.
So what happened to Old Man Chip? Is he dead now, or is he just retired?
I imagine he's probably retired. I bet that'll come up because it wasn't just him. Joan is gone, the turnip seller.
Oh, it's sad.
There's a younger turnip seller now. So I just, but Sahara's still kicking. And Sahara, if any of the characters seem too old to be doing what they're doing, it was Sahara.
Remember the walrus from the GameCube edition? Whatever happened to him?
I think he was in Wild World as well, but I don't think he was in the ones after that.
Hold on, I don't even remember his name. Wendell.
Yeah, Wendell, you had to feed him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff I love about Animal Crossing is like when like weird, because they can't do it every day because every day it would get old after a while. But like the NPCs that pop up and you never know when they're going to be there and you just kind of have to figure out what they need from you and you help them out. They've also announced that there's going to be free updates. The ones that we know about so far are holidays, and I guess they didn't put the holidays in the game immediately so that nobody like time travels and does all the holidays like day one.
Right.
Which I feel like is kind of controlling on Nintendo's part, but I like that there's free DLC coming, which kind of opens the door for them to like keep the game fresh the way they have Pocket Camp.
Yeah, I really love how Nintendo sort of embraced that philosophy for like the Switch generation, how we see like all their main titles really get substantial updates. We saw like Breath of the Wild get paid DLC, Odyssey got free DLC.
Yeah, Luigi's Balloon Hunt was super fun.
Pokemon's getting 2 major expansions. That's pretty huge,
Yeah. So, as much as I hated Sword and Shield, I think it's really cool that they're doing a DLC instead of a third game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the obvious choice, I think.
Yeah.
It's cool that Nintendo's finally on board. But do you foresee maybe like paid DLC for Animal
Crossing? I really hope not, because I think the only paid DLC that would make any sense would feel a lot like microtransactions.
Yeah, kind of like speeding things up or...
no, I feel like it'd be like furniture packs and stuff.
Yeah, it'd be like furniture packs.
Cosmetics and... Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I really don't like that because the whole point, like that's the whole game,
I like the ability also that they've added to customize furniture, and the most important one, put furniture outside.
Yeah, and you can put your own custom patterns on furniture now, which is just incredible. The level of customization in this game is, like, surreal. Like, when I was little, I thought it was so incredible to be able to decorate your house and, like, expand your house in the original Animal Crossing, but if you showed me this, I'd be, like, losing my mind.
Yeah.
There's crafting. There's just so much they're adding that makes this, like, the biggest expansion to an Animal Crossing ever. Like,
and they're adding, like, the equivalent of MMO dailies, basically. So, like, every day you sign on and it's like, oh, catch 10 fish or whatever, and you get paid for that. It just kind of gives you, like, some direction.
Yeah.
Because Animal Crossing is a very directionless game. And you could totally ignore it and you'd be fine, if you want it to be directionless. And I'm hoping that, like, I can have villagers randomly move in, because that was never a feature that bothered me. I'm hoping that I can still get a classic Animal Crossing experience without some of the newer stuff. Because I'm not going to take advantage of it much, but it's not going to kill me if I don't, It won't bother me.
Right.
None of the new additions are like, they're purely good, I think.
Yeah, everything, like, it's hard to, like, do bad in an Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Because
there are a few things that I think
get excited.
There are a few things that might be frustrating, like your town. Like, normally when you start out in Animal Crossing, you already have a museum. I don't know if you did a New Leaf, but historically you already have the museum. You already have the Able Sisters, which is where you do patterns and design clothes and buy clothes. And you already have like Nook's Cranny, which is your basic shop. And you don't have any of that by default in New Horizons. You have to build all of that. And they're saying it'll take like it's not going to be something you get day one. You know, the game's going to be very slow starting out.
I think the slow burn is very appropriate for this game, though.
Yeah, I agree. It's really something like I don't see myself ever playing Animal Crossing for more than like an hour a day or something. Like maybe even less than that. Like sit down and play for 30 minutes.
But conversely, you'll play it a lot longer than most.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I'll probably play it for a year. Yeah. Like.
Are there any any sort of multiplayer features?
Yeah. So there's a local multiplayer where you can have up to 4 people playing on the same Switch at the same time. You only have access to one of your inventories at the same time, or at a time. You basically have a leader, and they control the camera and the inventory, so they're the one that's really playing, you know?
Yeah.
But the
no online multiplayer though?
No, there is online multiplayer. Online multiplayer, you can have up to 8 people in one island.
Like that's impressive.
That's really cool.
But they don't all live on that island. They're visitors.
But it'd still be cool to have, you could have like some of your friends over your island and have them check it out and that sort of
I'm
thing.
a little disappointed. There's some stuff I was kind of hoping, and I guess it's not confirmed to not be in the game, but it's as good as confirmed. I was hoping there'd be like, Amit, I could visit your island while you're not playing the game. And like just see it, talk to your villagers, just hang out. I wouldn't be able to customize it, obviously, but just hang out and do some stuff. Maybe send you or send your villagers a letter. But that doesn't seem to be in the game.
It sounds kind of like the secret bases from Pokemon Ruby Sapphire.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I wanted it to be. It could have been something where it gets saved locally and it just only updates every time you play together or something.
Yeah.
That would have been fine
that would
by
be really
me.
Cool. Maybe maybe in the next one.
Yeah, I mean, the game's getting updates, so maybe.
Yeah.
There was something sort of like that in New Leaf called, I think it was like Dream Tours or something. There's like a place you could go and you could actually like upload your town to a Nintendo server and like get a code, and you could send that code to people and they could visit your town or an exact copy of your town, because they couldn't actually do anything there really, but they could come visit your town to like get ideas to customize theirs and stuff. And you could go to a random town, or you could look a town up, or you could have a QR code, I think. And I really hope that at least comes back, because that was really neat to just go see what other people were doing.
But if it does come back, Nintendo definitely needs to like streamline that process. In 2020, no one's gonna have the attention span to, send a code and like.
I mean, it wasn't bad with a QR code, and I think you could visit your friends' towns by default.
I mean, ideally, you should just be able to send a game invite through the game.
Yeah, that'll never happen.
Like that.
It's Nintendo.
It's Nintendo.
That is how you do the actual multiplayer, though. You send a game invite.
Okay.
Yeah, well, not an invite. You open your town up, and then somebody asks to come, basically.
Yeah. Now, if only they supported voice chat, so you could actually talk to your friends in the village.
Animal Crossing was like the first Nintendo game to do voice chat. There was actually an attachment for the Wii.
Oh, gosh.
The
attachment
Wii Speak,
to the
I think. Yeah, but I still have mine. It like attached to the top of your sensor bar or something.
That's so weird. That's so Nintendo.
But does it have voice chat through the app, Mike?
Yes.
Okay, well that's plenty for me.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't ask for anything more than that from Nintendo.
And plus, these days everyone's on Discord anyway. Doesn't really.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess it doesn't matter too much anymore.
But I definitely remember being a kid and playing Animal Crossing Wild World with my friends with our like home phones on speakerphone.
That's awesome.
Yeah. My mind was blown when Pokemon Diamond had voice chat in it when you did an online battle.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But it like cut out while you were in the menus and stuff, so like it was still kind of garbage, but it existed. But I'm super hyped for Animal Crossing. I don't know how I'm gonna get through this next month, but
on that day you'll also have Doom Eternal.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a day.
That's such a good game to release alongside Animal Crossing, in my opinion, though, because like I said, Animal Crossing's only going to hold my attention for like an hour or something, probably, and I'm going to need something. Like, I absolutely would, if Animal Crossing was the only new game that day, I would probably sit there and play Animal Crossing for 6 hours, but only have gotten anything done during that first hour, because there's just not much to do. But then, now with Doom Eternal, play Animal Crossing for an hour, hour and a half, and then rip and tear for a while.
Right.
I think that's a good combo.
But yeah, something you said a while back kind of caught my ear. You said that going forward, Nintendo wants Animal Crossing to be a mobile-only game, like a handheld-only game. Why do you think that is?
It's a game that, like I said, you play it for kind of a short amount of time. And I think that's very much in Nintendo's mobile philosophy.
Yeah.
But I don't think City Folk sold that well, which is the last home console. There have only been 2, 3 if you count the re-releases of the first Animal Crossing game. Home console Animal Crossings.
Yeah.
And I just think the DS and the 3DS ones sold way better. And it kind of makes sense. Like, Animal Crossing is a super chill game to play, maybe play on your lunch or...
Yeah, that's where I was kind of going with that. Certain games are just better handheld than they are on console or PC. Like
you're not going to get yourself worked up playing Animal Crossing. It's not an exciting game, really.
Yeah.
So it kind of, you're just going to sit there, chill out, catch some fish. It's a super cozy game. I've done a lot of playing Animal Crossing in bed.
Right, yeah. And I feel like the handheld aspect only adds to that, right? Because coziness, the coziness factor is way upped when you have a handheld because it's just it's right on you. You could literally be doing anything. You're laying down, you're doing whatever, and you're playing a game at the same time. When you play like a console or a PC game, it's sort of like a commitment, right? You have to you set up and sit down in front of it. It's kind of ceremonious, and I feel like handheld games kind of take that stress away.
I almost hate that I want a box so bad, because with Animal Crossing, I want to be able to just turn it on whenever, I don't really want to have to do the whole cartridge swap thing with the Switch. I know that sounds kind of silly.
You lost me. Are you mean to change the game? Why don't you just get it digitally?
Yeah, I like to have boxes.
Oh, right. I forgot you're a collector now.
I'm a bit of a collector. I like to have a box on the shelf. So I would love to get it digitally if I could get a box to put on the shelf too. But
you could be one of those people who buy the physical and the digital.
I would not do that. I would pay $5 additional. That's probably where I would max out. But if I could get the box as well as a digital copy, I would do that. But that is not an option. And realistically, there's not a lot of Switch games coming out this year that I know of, so it's not going to leave my console for a while.
Yeah, what is coming out this year on Switch? I mean, potentially Breath of the Wild 2, but at this point I feel like if we haven't...
Yeah, it's pretty barren. We don't know
I get
anything.
the feeling it's probably 2021.
Yeah, it seems like, as far as I know, Animal Crossing is the only... maybe Bayonetta 3, we haven't heard anything about that, but...
Metroid Prime, or
there's no way Metroid Prime 4
yeah, that's still
that's
an early development.
Would be earliest in my mind.
But we got Sakurai is putting out 6 more DLC characters, and I don't know if you guys saw, but he said that this will be the last set of DLC for Ultimate.
He didn't say that. He said this is the last planned DLC.
Well, he did say that, but I think the following line made it more clear that they were done developing on Ultimate.
He said that he would finally be finished, right?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't buy it.
You think Nintendo
I do buy that they don't have any plans to have any more DLC.
Yeah.
But I don't see them stopping.
Smash
DLC.
Ultimate is so it's so popular, so hot right now. It's the best-selling fighting game of all time.
And it definitely gets its community invigorated every time they add characters. And getting $25 for a fighter's pass of 6 characters, I feel like the money to development time ratio there is probably pretty good.
Yeah.
So I like the odds of Nintendo milking that a little more.
Yeah, but on the other hand, think of poor Sakurai.
Yeah, I do wish he could take a break, but yeah.
I feel like, I don't know. I don't know if he obviously is really passionate about Smash, but this is his 5th one.
Yeah,
6 if you count the 3DS one. I feel like he wants to try something else.
I'm not convinced we're ever gonna get another new Smash Bros. We will eventually, but I really think that
will.
I think they'll port this one to the next console. I really do. Because otherwise it'll be a downgrade.
That may be the case. Well, it'll be a downgrade in terms of number of characters, but they could do another like story mode, like Subspace Emissary, or they could
I mean,
tweak
they
the
could add
gameplay
a story
somehow.
mode to a port. Like that wouldn't necessarily be a new game, you know? You could take the same game, same engine, and add a story mode
Yeah.
to it.
I don't
Like,
know though. Like it's kind of
I don't think.
it's kind of tradition at this point. Each Nintendo generation has a new Smash Bros. Game with a new engine in it.
I just hope
I
they
don't know if they'll
do that.
deviate from that.
I hope they don't, because Sakurai won't be making it. I don't think. I don't.
I mean,
I
it's,
don't
I
know.
think it's one of those things where like
I just
you
don't
know,
think
like
they could top
Hideo
Ultimate. I think
Kojima after Metal Gear Solid 2, he was like, okay, this is the last one. And then 3, he was like, okay, this is the last one. Then 4, he was like, okay, this is the last one. And then they made 5, and then
they didn't even
the
let him
whole
finish
Konami
it.
thing happened, right?
Yeah.
I think Sakurai's in a similar spot where he's like, okay, this is my masterpiece. I'm done now. But then
I really do think that it is his masterpiece, though. I think anything they do in a future Smash Bros. Game would be a downgrade. Like it's another Melee situation where Brawl was mostly a downgrade from Melee.
Mhm.
Like, and
Yeah,
I
don't know.
don't want that. I would rather
I
them.
do think I think what's going to happen if I were to bet my money on it, I think going forward the next entry in the series is going to be drastically different. Like major gameplay changes compared to all the previous entries.
It'll be a
and-
3D fighter.
And that's how they keep it fresh. I hope not.
That's a Tekken clone.
Yeah, I don't know. The future of Smash is certainly in flux, and it's a very interesting thing to consider. Like
Yeah.
Nintendo's got to be looking at the numbers and being like, we just need to continue this momentum somehow.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. A new Smash Bros. Game generates a lot of hype, but I would want them to keep as much as they could from Ultimate because, I mean, every character is somebody's favorite character, and it sucks for your favorite character to get cut.
Right. And I would argue that, yes, a new Smash Bros. Game creates hype, but the Fighter Pass announcements and,
They
the
create a
reveals
lot
of
of
the
hype,
characters
yeah.
create just as much hype now. Like, every Nintendo Direct, I feel like everyone's just eagle-eyed watching. It's like, am I going to be duped into, like, is this thing secretly a trailer for Smash,
Yeah. Yeah, like,
think
I'm sure there were people
Sakurai-
watching the Animal Crossing Direct today, like,
Exactly,
oh, is Tom Nook getting announced today? Like,
Yes. Like Sakurai and his team have become like masters at just implementing those trailers in such a way that like they pull one over you constantly. Like the Persona one blew my mind. I did not see that coming at all.
Yeah. I was pretty blown away. This is kind of a reversal, but it was a Smash Direct, I think, where Isabelle got announced. And then at the end, it shows Tom Nook saying
And then
that he's taking
new
care
Animal
of the
Crossing.
town.
No, I
Matt
remember
Mills.
people were so mad about that.
Really?
Like just reacting in real time when they've because when Isabel showed up on screen, everyone
They
thought
thought it was
new
a new
Animal
Animal
Crossing,
Crossing,
and they were
yeah.
so happy. And then it
Yeah.
was like it showed that she was in Smash, and everyone just lost their minds for like
Yeah. I was
30,
upset.
40 seconds, and then
And then the sweet relief of Tom Nook assuaging our fears.
yeah.
Yeah. No, they're the masters of hype, for sure. Except, that one thing that they keep doing.
What's that one thing?
Adding Fire Emblem characters.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, so I don't
Nothing kills hype like Fire Emblem.
I think we're safe for the next Fighter Pass because I don't think a new Fire Emblem game is coming
I
out.
will never
anytime
feel
soon.
safe again.
Because Three Houses just came is still getting DLC, so
I will never feel safe. No Smash Direct will ever feel safe to me again. I was so certain that the last one couldn't disappoint me, and I got burned so hard. That ruined my entire day.
well, you're not the only one.
Because that
I mean-
Direct was like 9 a.m. God, 6 a.m. on
See,
the...
Okay,
or
I know
something.
we've talked
Ugh.
about this so much on the show, but as far as Byleth is concerned, there's so many better characters than him in the same game they could have picked.
I keep hearing that, but I don't think... I think it would still bother me, because Byleth's moveset is fine.
But like he fits the template of like blue-haired anime swordsman that like
Yeah.
most other Fire Emblem characters do. The three, the game is called Three Houses, and the heads of each of those houses are completely unique characters. They're not like blue-haired anime swordsmen at all. Like they have unique characteristics, unique weapons, unique
I know,
fighting
it
styles.
looks like a pretty good game, and I've seen it, and all the
Oh,
characters
it's a
look pretty
fantastic
interesting.
game.
I
Three Houses
have
is a
boycotted it
fantastic
in
game.
response to all the Fire Emblem representation in Smash.
Well, that's a real shame because like that's the opposite effect that they're trying to do with
I know.
all these characters.
But I will not give in.
Are you ever going to give in for Pokemon?
No, not on Pokemon Sword and Shield. The only reason I ever buy
Sword and
Pokemon
Shield,
is...
I have to admit, is really good. Like
The-
they are really good games.
The hype tears into me really bad when a Pokemon game first releases, and I usually break and buy it. If I can get past that phase, I really don't like Pokemon that much. I don't enjoy the games. Like, I like shiny hunting. Other than that, they really don't do it for
Well,
me.
if you like shiny hunting, I think you'll really like the raid battles in this game. I don't know if you're familiar with those, but like it's a very addictive process where you can team up with a few friends, like and battle like Dynamax Pokemon together, right? And catch them. And like certain spots have certain Dynamax Pokemon, and certain Dynamax Pokemon only appear at certain time. It really is sort of an interesting kind of cat and mouse game where you're like planning, okay, I want to hunt this today and like go after this, especially in the wild area, because like the weather changes every day. You know, like, okay, if it's snowing, then I have a higher chance of catching this ice type Pokemon I really want to get, etc.
Yeah.
So
Pokemon's just not really a game that actually appeals to me if you cut it apart and look at its individual pieces.
right.
though.
Well, you said you really don't like turn-based combat.
I
so
hate
I
turn-based
imagine that's a
combat,
big
and I
turn
hate
off.
random encounters. I hate both of those things so much, and that's literally all Pokemon is. Like, the story's garbage every single time. You know, like
They
what
did
am I
fix
coming
that
back for?
in Pokemon Sword, though, that you can see the Pokemon in the grass.
Right,
you can avoid
and that's an improvement, but like, I don't know. The turn-based combat, and Pokemon in particular has bad turn-based combat in my opinion. Like,
I don't
Persona's-
think I agree.
Personas is pretty good. I can absolutely get into some Persona, although I'm
Personas
there for
is-
the story, not the
Persona's
combat.
is excellent. I think Persona does it better than pretty much everyone.
And I think most Final Fantasy games are way more interesting because they have like, after the first few, they have like a timer that ticks down and stuff, and kind of
Yeah.
like it's active. It's not really turn-based as much as it's menu-based, I guess. And even Digimon had some stuff that made it a little more strategic.
Yeah.
I don't know. Pokemon doesn't do anything for me as a skill-based game. It doesn't do anything for me as a story-based game. It just doesn't do it for me anymore. You know, like,
Yes.
as
Certainly
somebody who
not-
buys into the hype and likes to be a part of something, Pokemon does a lot for me.
Well, I was
But-
just going to comment. The skill-based aspect is there if you want it, right? There's a very active competitive scene for Pokemon.
Yeah, I've never been good enough for that. But yeah, it is.
Oh.
Like, the multiplayer is definitely there, and I got into it in Pokemon X for a while and had some
Story,
fun.
you hit the nail on the head. Story
It's
is
just, it might as well not be there.
nonsense.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
awful.
They
Yeah.
like attempted to go some places with like black and white. If you guys remember that.
I skipped those ones.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
So
skipped.
you're
black
no
and
stranger
black
to
dip.
skipping
No,
generations.
I've skipped.
of
I've
Pokemon.
skipped gens
Okay.
before. I
Interesting.
skipped everything after Soul Silver until X, and then I've bought everything since X. I don't buy the third game usually, so I bought X and Y, or I bought X and I bought Sun,
Yeah.
or I forget if it was Sun or Moon, but I'm skipping Sword and Shield, probably completely. Because Pokemon's not even a game you can really be a patient gamer for, because for some reason they don't go down in price at all.
Yeah, I mean, Pokemon's just sort of evergreen, though. You know, like people are always going to want to buy Pokemon.
Like
it-
a used copy of Soul Silver right now is more expensive than it was on release. It's like $50, and it was a
well,
$40
well,
game.
at this point, you know, like DS games are kind of a rarity. That probably contributes to that quite a bit.
I know, but I can find like a copy of Mega Man ZX for like $15.
Like- If I want to buy a copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee, I better be ready to shell out over $100.
really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That sucks.
Is that how much a copy of Melee costs now?
Ma-
Is $100?
I mean, at least 3 or 4 years ago, it was over $100. So I imagine the price has only gone up. I haven't checked since then, though.
I remember there was a period where GameCubes were like dirt cheap.
I just
Well-
looked up. I was trying to look up Super Smash Bros. Melee, and I looked up Pokemon Melee and was confused why Pokemon cards came up.
We're talking about Pokemon.
It's $50 or $60 for a copy of Melee. There's one for $40. I can see.
Okay, I went to a retro game store, and they were selling it for like $100. So
Oh well, this is eBay, and a lot of these
Yeah.
aren't like buy it now, but the bids are like hovering around $30.
Yeah,
interesting.
GameCubes.
Okay, that's definitely cheaper than I thought.
GameCubes are like $60 ish.
GameStop's trying to charge. This is totally a tangent, but GameStop's trying to charge like $70 or $80 for a refurbished Wii, and that's insane. You can get a Wii for like $30.
I mean, GameStop at this point is just desperately trying to stay alive, and they're trying to do whatever they can.
Yeah, and it's
So
not working.
that doesn't really surprise me. Yeah, I don't see GameStop being in business by like 2030, probably before
Yeah.
that. I mean, just a store that focuses solely on retail games is just redundant at this point. Even now, it's redundant. You know, you could just buy digitally, unless
Yeah,
there's
that's
like some
kinda-
serious incentives to buy physical, or unless
That's
you
ki-
just like buying physical. You know.
That's another reason I kind of like buying physical is because I know I have the option now, and I will not always have the option. You know, like
Right.
I will still be playing video games when physical copies stop happening. I've already seen it happen to PC. You know, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah,
okay with me.
I'm right
okay
there with you.
I'm
know,
somebody who likes physical copies because they exist. If they were to go away, like if they announced there is no physical copy of Animal Crossing, I'd be like, all right, well, you know, I don't have to collect it if it doesn't exist.
Right.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't know. I enjoy just having something physical. You know, something I can take with me.
I'm somebody who
Something
likes,
that-
like, I love every time I'm at your house, I look at your shelf. You know, I like to look at what games somebody has. It's the same as a
Yeah.
bookshelf, like they're conversation pieces.
Yeah, you can get so much about their gaming history just by like a glance or two.
Unless it's
Like,
you
in
or
the
me, where we
future,
have a ton
you know-
of games we've never played.
I mean, in the future, what do you do is like you log into their account and scroll through their library. There's no really easy way to do that.
I mean, my friends have obviously done that because we like hang out and play video games. But like somebody who's
Yeah.
casually like in my living room isn't gonna log into my Steam. And
True.
yeah, you know, maybe virtual reality will change that when we're having like virtual reality a hangout space where somebody can see what games I have. But
My virtual physical game collection.
yeah, God, I'd love that if that was integrated into GOG Galaxy, which is like a client that combines all your libraries and friends lists together. If I could look through like a bookshelf in VR, I could make that application. I should probably work on that actually. I can make that.
That's a great
I'm
idea.
I'm a video game developer. I could manage that.
I develop video games. I'm going to build this.
I am a developer with virtual reality experience. I have no excuse for not making this thing that I want.
Well, dude,
you really don't.
It's a marketable idea too. I feel like you could, turn that into some money.
Yeah,
if you
maybe.
actually went for it.
Or I could turn it into a reputation. One of the two.
And I don't see why it can't be both.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know if people would pay for it.
I'd pay like $5 for it.
Yeah, I don't know.
But-
I'll look at it later.
All right. I think
Announcement pending.
we should start wrapping up the show. And
51
just-
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say
These
we're
go
doing
by
some
so
pop-up
quick now.
episodes.
They
I've been
do.
really looking forward to our games we've been playing though, because I have one I want
Yeah.
to talk about.
I can actually. You really want to go, so why don't you kick us off, Connor?
I'm pretty sure I haven't talked about Final Fantasy 15, right?
No, you have. You mentioned
Oh.
a couple weeks ago that you wanted to try it.
Yeah, I did, and I have loved it. That game has been a joy
Really?
to play.
I've
Yeah.
heard
Oh.
such awful things about Final Fantasy.
Really?
You were.
Yeah.
I heard awful things about it too, and then I started playing it. I'm still not done with the game, but there's so much. I've like completed 90% of the hunts in it.
Yeah, I'm not. Oh, really? I haven't done hardly any side quests at all because that's just not. Well, the side quests don't give you a ton of EXP. I noticed they're mostly for money.
Hunts give you a lot of EXP usually.
Really, the ones I was doing weren't. Maybe I need to readdress that because I am like, I hit a part where I need to grind a little bit, and it's kind
What
of.
level are you at?
I'm level 44.
Oh.
Noctis is, but the rest of my crew is like level 42 or 43, and I need to get everybody up to level 45 before I do the finale.
Everyone in my party is like 60 or something now. for
Oh,
just
really?
hunts. It's
Yeah,
slurred,
if you
like-
finish the story, it's going to be
Yeah.
a cakewalk for you then.
Oh, I haven't finished the story yet. I still have
Yeah.
to do the finale.
But it's super like I love the beginning of the game. It's like this super chill like road trip with your buds and like you're hanging out and like some dramatic stuff happens and you kind of help each other get through it and I love that. Like I felt like how you were talking about how when you played Persona 4 like those were your friends.
Yeah.
Like I felt that a lot with Final Fantasy 15. I fell in love with the car, the Regalia you drive around. Like I got so attached to that car, and Square Enix absolutely plays with your feelings for this car. Like
Yeah.
early on, they take it from you, and you're just ready to annihilate the Empire for taking your car away. Like,
Is this the Final Fantasy equivalent of John Wick?
no, I'm a little bit no. Noctis is not a John Wick, but you play as a character called Noctis, who's the prince of Lucius, I think, or Insomnia. He's the prince of a kingdom that is very important, and most of the game
And themed
Well,
it
about
around nighttime, clearly.
And you're traveling with your like sworn protector Gladiolus, who everybody calls Gladio. Your and your friends Promptus and Ignis. And Ignis is this dude who like does everything for you basically. He drives you around, he cooks for you, but he's also just your bro. Like he's a cool dude.
Yeah, he's a cool.
Promptus
Everyone,
super cool. Everybody like I just like and like you have to make a good character for me to remember the names Prompto, Gladiolus, Noctis, and Ignis. Like that's a good character if I care enough to remember a name like
Right.
yeah,
that. Like, and I do. Like I love this game. Like it's gonna really bother me when I finish it, I think. And I'm gonna finish it
That's
soon.
awesome.
It's just I love like you get so attached to these characters and you go on this road trip with them and like that's most of the game really. Like technically story-wise it's only the first half. But like, and then there's like some events happen and there's a major tone shift. But then as soon as that happens, you get this ability to time travel back, essentially. Like they call it like memory walking or something. But you can go back to before that tone shift and go back to just driving around and stuff with your buds to do side quests and
That's
grind
great.
and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's super nice, but also it is a little weird when you're playing through the story and everything's like not that. And then suddenly, like, you hit a wall where you need to grind a little bit to continue, and you have to go back to when everything was like cheery and awesome.
yeah, it's
But
really
I love
good,
it.
though.
It's an like you said people hated it, and I think that's because like if you followed its development, it was unfinished on release, and I think it's had some updates since then that fixed that a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say they've had tons of updates, continuous
Tons of
updates.
DLC,
Yeah.
tons of crossovers. There's like a Final Fantasy 14 crossover. I want to say there's a Monster Hunter crossover.
Well, Monster
I think
Hunter
there is
crosses over
too.
with everything.
Yeah, but yeah, there's a bunch of crossover missions and stuff you can do, and I'm having a ton of fun with that. There's a bunch of DLC. Like there's a DLC where you play as all three of your buds.
There's a DLC where you get a boat, and it adds another super boss to the final area.
Really, I haven't played that yet because I got it through Game Pass, so I don't even know if I have access to all the DLC. I haven't checked yet.
Unless you have Royal Edition, you wouldn't have the boat.
Okay, but anyway, the game I would recommend this game. They call it a Final Fantasy for fans and first timers alike, and I don't know the truth of that statement, but as a first timer, I have been in love with this game. It makes me want to pick up Final Fantasy 14 kinda, and it's got me really wanting like kind of looking at the Final Fantasy 7 remake because I like I said I hate turn-based combat, and the combat in this is real-time action-based. So I'm like
similar to how 7 Remake's gonna be.
yeah, so I'm having a good time with the combat, like a really good time.
Yeah, I feel like. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I wasn't gonna say anything.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say something.
No,
But I was gonna say, I feel like the three of us have a pretty broad and I would even say vast, like gaming library knowledge. Like we play lots of different games, but none of us have really played Final Fantasy. I feel like that's a pretty big gap.
I
And
have.
This
What
game
are you
has me
talking
really
about?
thinking about
Oh,
changing
Mike?
that.
Mike, you have.
Yeah, I grew up. Well, I didn't play a lot of like the 3D Final Fantasies, but some of the first games I played were Final Fantasy 4 and 6, I think.
Oh, your grandma was a big SNES fan, wasn't she?
Yeah.
All right, completely
That's
disregard
why.
what I said then.
I
But
never
I definitely
played 7 though.
I feel like I need to get into Final Fantasy because I feel like I'm missing something that a lot of people get and a lot of people get excited about. But
I mean, there's a
That
lot of
just isn't there.
stinkers in there. Like, I don't think anybody liked Final
Well-
Fantasy X, really.
well, Final Fantasy VI I hear is one of the
No,
best games
people
or
love
one of the
Final
best
Fantasy
RPGs ever.
Is it 13 that people hate?
It's 13 that people hate. 10 was
Okay.
10 was relatively a good game other than that laugh.
Yeah,
I mean-
I would super suggest you check out because you have Game Pass, don't you, Emmett?
I actually have Final Fantasy 15 still in the plastic wrap. I never actually opened it.
God.
You're an absolute monster.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, you should definitely play it. I can't recommend it highly enough, honestly. I had such a good time with it.
Okay,
And
that's awesome.
I continue to have such a good time with it. It's not like I'm sitting here saying that this is a masterpiece 10 out of 10 game. I wouldn't say that. It's just I really, really liked it. Like it just hit all the major points for me to have a really good time. Like it has this. It's like the little stuff that really, really does it for me. Like you sit down to camp out with your friends, and you have Ignis cook you a meal, and every meal has this super like you know how delicious food looks in anime.
Yeah.
It's a
It's
high
that.
res food.
It looks so. The food just looks amazing. Like the little stuff, and like every once in a while, your buds will just like throw you a side quest. Like Prompto likes taking pictures, and he'll like see something out of the car and be like, "Dude, we got to go get a picture in front of that." And like you can say yes or no, and you just pull over and you take a picture with your friends. Like,
Yeah.
but
Or
at the
you
same
walk
time,
up
it's
to
this
a
epic quest where you kill monsters. Like,
to a cup of noodle stand, and
I also, oh yeah, Gladiolus loves the
it's
noodles.
like here's product placement.
Oh,
But
I
it
love
feels
I
natural.
love that too. Like the anachronism of it all. Like it's this fantasy world where everybody fights with swords and stuff. But there are also guns, there are robots, there are like mechs you fight, you're driving a car around.
Yeah.
And your
like-
camping supplies are made by Coleman.
Yeah, your camping supplies are all Coleman. I love that.
That's great.
I just love that it's such a mashup. Like you're driving your car around and like if you look one way, it just looks like, oh, you're driving through the Midwest. But then you look the other way and there are these like, you know, Final Fantasy Xenoblade style like arches coming out of the ground and stuff. And like everybody like lives in these big cities because it's dangerous to be out at nighttime because demons come out. So
Which are
like
classic Final Fantasy enemies.
yeah, and
usually.
they have to be in the light. Oh yeah, there's one boss fight that is like pure classic Final Fantasy. The dungeons are cool.
Oh,
I
what was
just-
the boss fight you're talking about?
The boss fight, the big plant thing. The
Oh, the Malboro.
yeah. Even I knew that was a classic Final Fantasy boss.
Oh,
And that's like at almost your lowest point in the game you have to fight that boss, and it's kind of cool. Cuz it's kind of like where things turn up for you again.
You're definitely selling me on it. Like I feel like especially with the advent of the Final Fantasy VII remake, it's inevitable. I've got to play a Final Fantasy game soon, probably this year.
It's such a hard game to talk about without spoiling. If you after this podcast play 20 minutes of Final Fantasy 15, you won't be able to put it down.
yeah, no.
All right, I'll take you up on that. I'll do it. I
Yeah.
literally have it. I've had it for like a year plus now. It's just kind of sitting
no.
there.
Pop it in, play, because I bet you won't. I bet you'll sit down to play for 20 minutes, and I bet a couple hours will pass and you won't realize it.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I'm
It's
excited.
that kind. Yeah, it's just actually 20 minutes. I'm not even sure you'll get through all the cutscenes at the beginning, but it's you know,
Yeah.
Sounds
it's-
Metal Gear Solid-esque.
yeah, it's just yeah. I immediately fell in love, and I love a narrative game. You know, yeah.
The
I think
combat
that's all
is
it
also surprisingly deep in it, which is, given that it's like 1 or 2 button combat, it's still surprisingly deep.
Yeah, it's really just dodge and attack, but and like you don't even
Hey, man,
press the
that's-
button
that's-
to attack. You hold it.
That's all you need. That's Dark Souls. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Dodge and attack. Or more accurately, that's Bloodborne, because you can't block in Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still have to think about when you're gonna attack, but dodge and attack, those are your 2 moves. Oh, and warp strike. I forgot about that.
Yeah, warp strike, yeah. And you also have like several different like you can have 4 weapons at a time and
Yeah.
there's like a magic system and
And you got to figure out which weapon is the best to use in the situation. Maybe it's too fast and you can't use the great sword, so you got to swap to your regular sword. Or maybe
Yeah.
you need a spear to fight him in the air or something.
See,
and also all the enemies have like a weapon weakness as well as an element weakness.
Yeah.
This all sounds so enticing, but it also scares me so much because I'm already deep into like 100-hour game already.
You
With
see,
Assassin's
it's
Creed
not a
Odyssey.
100-hour game though. I have only played like it's like a 40 or 50-hour game maybe. Like you can fly through the story in this game fairly quick in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
I
I put,
think I
like-
have like let me check my hours real quick, but I don't think I've broken 40 hours.
I'm like at 60-ish, and I'm trying to 100% it, though.
Yeah, like if you just play the story and like do side missions occasionally when they appeal to you,
Yeah. But see,
it won't be
I
a
have
100-hour
to-
game.
I'm one of those gamers that like I feel like I have to do everything. I try and do most side quests.
Oh,
Unless
no,
I
the side
start
quests
feeling
are actually
burned
kind
out.
of good.
Yeah, this game
Some
might
of 'em.
kill you if you try to do all the side quests though.
I mean, that's
There's
literally
not that
why I
many.
couldn't. That's literally why I couldn't get through The Witcher. I put 40 plus hours into The Witcher 3, and I mean, a big contributing factor was that I accidentally erased my save game. But
Oh,
you know,
that's pretty
trying to get those 40 hours back and completing it, like I want to do it someday, but I haven't, mustered up the will to do it yet.
I can't seem to find how many hours I have in it, but it's not a huge amount, like in my opinion.
All right, I'll play 20 minutes of it, and if it sucks me in, I'll probably talk about it next week.
You gotta let me know. Yeah, you gotta. All right. I think
yeah.
I think I got it all out of my system.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not nearly feeling as passionate as Connor this week. I've been playing the original God of War, specifically the PS Vita port. On
There was
the
a
God
PS
of War
Vita port of that?
collection. So there's a God of War collection on PS Vita that includes God of War 1 and 2. And I've been
3?
playing it. No, just 1 and 2. Vita couldn't
Lame.
handle 3.
Yeah, there was
Really?
support for the PS3 as well that had 1 and 2.
Yeah.
The HD collection.
But yeah, I don't know. I broke up my Vita for the first time in eons, it seems like, and I was playing God of War, and I'm really enjoying it. The combat's good, of course. It's God of War, but it's a little weird on Vita because they map some of the controls to the touchpad and some other controls to the back touchpad, so it can get kind of awkward because my fingers naturally like rest on the back of the Vita. So if I
Yeah.
if
I
I'm at a
ran into that problem too.
if I'm at a save point, you save by hitting the back touchpad, or you grab onto something by holding the back touchpad. And because my fingers are constantly there, I'm constantly doing things I don't want to do, and that's kind of annoying. But other than that, it's a fun port. I mean, the frame rate could be better and like all that sort of stuff. I think the PS3 remastered versions are like 60 frames per second. This certainly isn't that. It's definitely 30. But it's fun just sort of going through the story again. I kind of wanted to go through all 3 games and the PS4 God of War because I just haven't done that in sequence, just to really kind of see how the story plays out across all the games. But yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Did the PS4 God of War like recontextualize it for you? You said it kind of like you felt like it did.
So I misspoke a little bit when I was ranting in that episode. What I meant to say was that it sort of did recontextualize the previous games, the new God of War did, but more than that, it made Kratos the fact that those games happened made Kratos in the new one so much more compelling of a character, which is weird to say because the story is largely inconsequential through the 3 while you're playing through it. But because the story happened in 4, it suddenly matters a lot more. And that's as much as I can say without really kind of spoiling things.
That's cool though.
But yeah, I'm enjoying it. Combat is brutal as expected, and just I don't know, it's a lot of fun. The combat's a lot of fun. Lots of dodging and striking and comboing. But yeah, Mike, what about you?
Oh boy, so I've been playing. You spoke about efficiency and managing production and stuff like that earlier. I've been playing Satisfactory, and I've not had that much fun destroying a lush natural environment for my own capitalistic greed than that game. Like it's so addicting just to build a factory out of nothing.
So tell me a little bit about Satisfactory, because I've heard the name before, but I'm not quite sure what it is.
If you've heard of Factorio, it's like a 3D Factorio, and I like that more, largely because I can build vertically, or I can actually navigate the environment vertically. It makes things work a lot better, and it just feels good. Like they just added pipes to the game, so I actually have to pipe fluid to my coal power plants.
So is this a game
across the map?
I just looked it up. Is this a game like if I got super into like Tekkit in Minecraft or Feed the Beast, like is this gonna scratch that itch for me?
Probably.
Okay. Because it looks like that. Like I loved like building the huge like assembly lines in Tekkit and stuff.
Yeah, no, in my playthrough I've put like 20, almost 30 hours into it. I've had to redesign my factory 3-4 times now. It's basically been all over my stream for 30 some hours.
Yeah.
But
might have to watch some of that to see if I can get a feel for it.
It's like I've literally sat there and had to fend off native creatures while I try to build a pipeline to transport my oil closer to where I am.
So what's the objective of the game? I'm still trying to just put it together in my head.
There's none yet, but you do have milestones that unlock more tech as you go through. So your main tech building is the space elevator, so you have to bury these specific parts that you can't handcraft into it. And when you complete that, it'll unlock 2 more tiers that you can throw resources into to unlock new technologies. Like the next tier I think I'm working on is going to unlock fuel generators, where I can refine oil into fuel and actually use it to power my entire setup.
Yeah. So I feel like it sounds kind of like the tech tree in Civ, but like the whole like that's the whole game, right? Like as you advance and unlock new technologies, you just have more like toys to play with and build with.
More factories, more efficiency to do. You can overclock your machines to produce a
More
certain amount of
efficiency.
parts. Yeah, to produce a certain amount of parts per minute. So you can get down to the nitty gritty of I want this machine to produce 3 parts per second, so it feeds another machine that requires 3 parts per minute or whatever. It's usually parts per minute.
So it's literally just optimization the game.
You have no idea how much math I've had to do to optimize this factory.
Hmm.
Like, I will literally pick up my phone, open up the calculator to see, oh, okay, this is using 300 screws a minute. I'm only producing 260, but I cannot produce any more because this conveyor belt only carries 260. So I'm limited by this conveyor belt, and I won't get a better one for a couple hours. So,
It sounds like a game made for very specific people, like neurotic, like
honestly, it's real easy to get into, though. Unlike Factorio, where it's very obtuse and very, like, hard to get into, I had a rough time getting to Factorio. I got into Satisfactory like that. Like, it didn't take much to set up, and ultimately, efficiency doesn't matter as much unless you want things to work real fast. Like, if you want to, like, plod through the game, you really don't need to build a super efficient factory. You just need to plop down another constructor and then have that feed into something that takes 2 ingredients. Like, it starts you out slow. Like, the first building that can craft can only use 1 item and produce another item. Then you get something that has 2 inputs, so it can take 2 items. And then you have something that has 4 inputs.
exponential increase.
And those are like 4 or 5 hours apart.
Oh, okay.
So
Definitely
you're
kind
not
of like
dealing with like the big things real super early.
yeah. I feel like having and like that's definitely like incentive to play to get that like uber like this thing can process 16 things at once.
Yeah, then there's also managing your power grid, making sure you have enough water to power your power grid. Like last night, I had a problem where I'd immediately set up my power grid, and apparently it wasn't getting enough water. It'd be fine for like 2-3 minutes, and then it'd just go down. And it was super frustrating until I just kind of went nuclear and added a whole nother set of water lines for it.
That sounds very fun.
Oh, fun's one word for it.
No, I don't know.
I enjoy stuff like
I got
this too.
super into tech.
Plus,
Yeah, you have to be a
it has
certain kind of person to
co-op.
enjoy this, but I think I am that person.
Yeah.
Plus, it has like full co-op and everything. And it's still in
Oh, that's
production.
full co-op. That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
actually a
full co-op.
huge. Yeah, that's
And
nice.
as far as I think it's drop in, drop out too.
That's very nice.
That's sweet.
You're selling me on this a little bit.
It's well worth it. I think it's coming out on Steam soon, or it's available right now in the Epic Game Store.
Yeah,
I think it'll
I'll
come
have
out
to
on
pick that
Steam
up.
3.
I talked myself into playing Final Fantasy 15 after this, though. So
Yeah, I'm definitely playing.
You nearly
Satisfactory.
talked me into playing it after this.
yeah, nearly.
Well, I'm going to play it at some point, okay? Between this episode and the next one. I just don't know if I'm going to do it immediately after this podcast.
You coward.
All right, I'm going to wrap up the show. If you guys like what you hear, you can follow us at Podcast Game Talk, all one word, on Twitter. You can click on the description of this podcast to find a link to our Discord. You can join us there and chat with us and give us questions and comments and feedback. Yeah, this was another good one in the books. Thank you for joining me, Connor and Michael.
Yep. Bye, guys.
All right, later.